We all thought Ohio State was just going to Molly spank that thing against the Wolverines last year, and they didn't.
Molly spank.
Yeah, what's a Molly spank?
Or Mr. Miyagi, just wax on, wax off, just wax it.
Light it.
Light it.
A little more energy, Coach, with the light it.
Light it.
Stick your chest into it, right, Mark? Stick your chest out there, Coach.
Light it.
Light it. There we go.
Light
Get that chest out with the light. Welcome to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Clock in for sweet treat time with Wendy's Classic Frosty. Get one now. So glad you're back here with us on the Triple Option. Rob Stone, Mark Ingram II, Urban Meyer here with you. Our thoughts on the whole Tennessee Nico Iamaleava breakup. We continue to prep for the NFL draft this week. Also, what can we expect from the defending national champs, Ohio State, regular season win-wise? That'll be a good little conversation later on the Triple Option. Remember, rate, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you find your podcast, as well as across social media at 3X Option Show. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this whole Tennessee holdout, Coach, am I looking at a ball pit in your background? What is going on? Are you like working like a jungle land over there? You got a miniature golf course somewhere back there?
We got a little spring break down here, so we got three grandkids under 3. They arrived yesterday, and I mean the handprints all over windows and just stuff everywhere, but it's awesome. You know, we had to have a family meeting and say we have 3 kids under 3, 3 grandkids under 3, and we said, you know, whatever you guys are doing to have children, stop. You know, it was kind of awkward with your kids, but stop it.
No more.
We have 6 grandkids, and let's take a time out for a couple of years and give Mimi and Buddy a chance to take a breath here.
How many naps have you taken today already, Coach?
He said, whatever y'all doing to have kids, stop.
Yeah. Awkward with your kid. You're not there yet, Mark, but chat.
Shit, hell no.
No.
I got it.
Mark, I hope you and I are a long ways away from that. If not, we need to do some serious some educating.
That's God's gift, though, boys.
Youngster.
It's true. It is absolutely
It's
true.
God's gift. God's gift right now is my actual kids. I can wait on the grandkids.
I have no rush,
I
man.
got 10. I'm 10 and under, so we got a long time.
But Coach, you can't put that little ball selection in storage, and we'll use that in like a couple decades, hopefully. We'll borrow it from you.
You gotta hose them off, I guess, because there's a lot of stuff goes on in there. Especially when they're little, Mark. So,
oh man, it's like never go in the kiddie pool, right? Just stay out of the kiddie pool. Let the kids do their business in there. All right, so can we talk college football? Right?
Wow,
wow,
what happened?
That. Oh man, so the NFL draft is next.
Iamaleava.
I know. We're going to get to Nico in a second. We're going to continue to get you ready with the second half of our interview with the draft savant, Todd McShay. That's coming up a little bit later in the episode. Also, we're going to throw out an invite to you. We welcome any and all to join us in Green Bay, April 24th and 25th for the Draft House Experience presented by Nissan. We're going to be located just outside Lambeau Field, and we're joining forces, guys, with our good friends, the Throwbacks, Matt and Jerry. We're going to have a live show each day, the 24th and 25th. There's going to be live music, free food, drinks, meet and greets. Coach, I know you love a good meet and greet. Plenty more to come as well. For more information, we encourage you visit Draft House Experience. It's all one word, drafthouseexperience.com, and that's coming your way April 24th, 25th outside Lambeau. We're looking forward to that one and seeing our guys from the Throwbacks. But let's start the show with a good old-fashioned holdout, right? Like if there was any debate if the NFL has leaked into college football, we had it the last couple of days. Tennessee starting quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Let's just call him Nico I, right? Because we're all going to say his last name differently.
He said how to say it.
I know, and it's still difficult to say it.
I'm good.
You're good with Nico I, Coach?
Yeah, just respectful. Yeah, of course.
Mark's pretty good at that one. All right, so he was trying, guys, essentially to renegotiate a substantial NIL deal, and it came to a head when he surprisingly sat out practice on Friday. His current deal was paying him in that like $2.5 million window. His team His team wanted to increase that, guys, to right around $4 million. That's $1 million more than, say, what a Carson Beck, a proven quarterback, has done, what Bryce Underwood, an unproven quarterback, is getting at Michigan. So we had an old-fashioned holdout, and Coach Heupel at Tennessee, to his credit, at least in a lot of quarters, said, I'm not going to play that game. We are moving on. Coach, how does this change team dynamics? How does this change college football?
Yeah, I want to hit that. Coach Heupel making a stand, and it's great. That's his prerogative. He's the head coach. But I've coached against Tennessee now. I can imagine week 4, week 5 if they're struggling with it. Right now they have a quarterback, one quarterback, a redshirt freshman, threw nine balls last year. That's it. Because the backup was a senior. They are at nada, 0 right now. 2 young quarterbacks, a freshman, a redshirt freshman. And obviously the transfer portal opens up today, I believe, right, for a 10-day window.
10-day spring portal window opens today.
They're going to go start swinging. But make your stand, and that's fine. That's great. Very talented player. Did not have a great year. That's the thing you got to push back on a little bit. When I saw that he only had 1 300-yard game, 8 games under 200, and a playoff 104 passing yards, we watched him a lot. I watched because I really enjoy. I think he's really super talented. But he did not have a great year. Had a good year, and they won games. So
he had a great year the first 5 games against people who were unranked.
Yeah, that's when I got all jacked up watching him.
And he beat Alabama.
Showed him on Big Noon. But here's the reality: is Tennessee is screwed. I mean, they got a problem. You lose a potential high draft pick. You have the backup quarterback left last year, and now you have a redshirt freshman that threw 9 passes and a freshman. You have 0 experience, and the portal opens as we speak. They are going to have to go get one. And here's the thing, that there's a couple key elements here. Everybody's saying, hey, nice job, Tennessee, making a stand. I got a little comment on that. Tennessee plays Florida usually every year in October. Can you imagine if the game's going the other way and Coach Heupel grabs the microphone and stands on the 50-yard line in Neyland Stadium and says, hey, it's okay, I made a stand way back when. So I don't know what the answer is. There are some interesting answers out there, but it happened. And think about this, Mark. He threw for 200 yards in 8 games or less. 200 yards. He had 1 300-yard game, and he threw for 4 yards against Ohio State in the playoffs. So he had a good year, first year starting quarterback. But I, as a guy that's been involved almost 40 years in this game, I can't believe this happened.
It's crazy. I mean, you talk about, you said it, Coach, like the man's already making $2.2 to $2.5 million. Then you go out there, and just because, you see Carson Beck's numbers, you see Bryce Underwood's numbers, you want to go and get more money, right? But you need to handle what you can handle, and that's improving, going to spring ball. Like, what is the ultimate goal here? The ultimate goal here is to be a professional NFL quarterback, right? Like, take the proper steps to control what you can control, and I guarantee you, if you ball and take Tennessee to the playoffs, you will get $4 or $5 million the next year. Not just to the playoffs, but deep into the playoffs. Make a run for, the national championship.
How about this? It's been reported that they're waiting. There's a chance he gets $1 million. People are kind of holding on that number. And I called someone in the business to ask and say, is that true? They're hearing the same thing. They don't think he's a $4 million quarterback. They're going to wait to see if it comes down. If it comes down, then some people might go take a swing at him. And he might end up in a lesser place for less money.
This is the norm now, Coach. I think in the 2023 recruiting class, 7 of the 8 quarterbacks have transferred. Arch Manning being the only one that hasn't transferred. Like, this is the norm here. Wow. Like, this is the new norm in college football. You don't get the money you want, even if you're the starter, you leave. Like, you are starting at a program like the University of Tennessee. You just took them to the playoff. Come back, get better, have camaraderie with your teammates, and you will reap what you sow. I promise you will.
I think
everyone wants instant gratification.
Yeah, I think what's being lost, though, maybe is the timing of this. Like, this should have been sorted out after the season, right? I think, speaking for Tennessee, I think they clearly felt that Nico was coming back. Like, he had gotten his money. We had a number for him. Things were great. And then, obviously, these negotiations started happening. So, to me, that makes it a little wild, wild west. Like, when do you know this player is locked and loaded on your roster? Right? Like, when can we know that you're going to stay with us? I think there's this great unknown now for these universities. And you're right, Coach. Like, my initial reaction was, congratulations, Coach Heupel. Way to make a stand. You know, the team is more important than one player. And I couldn't agree with that more. And I hate shady negotiations. I don't like greed out there. And I feel like Nico should have played it out. But also, Mark, and you've been there, you want what your value is.
Yeah.
And if he thought his value was more somewhere else, then okay, go try to get it. But he should have tried to have gotten it after the season. A season that he led his team to the college football playoffs.
A couple thoughts. One of the things, we got to quit calling it NIL. It's not. It's pay for play. It's a salary. It's exactly what they're doing. It's NFL. It's professional sports right now.
It's worse than the NFL, Coach. It's worse than the NFL because in the NFL,
there's no salary cap. There's nothing to work against. There's no
worse
buffers.
than the NFL because the NFL, you have to honor your contract. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm making $4 million. I balled last year. No, I need $12 million this year." No,
that's why you hold out. That's
and
what Nico
think about this.
did.
There's a rule out there that says that it cannot be tied to measurables. Your stats, winning, losing. What is it tied to? I'm blown away by this. And
right.
Yeah.
It's tied to measurables. And I play better. I want more money.
And I read someone treat them like coaches. And if you really want to tie it in, I don't think you're allowed to do it now, but allow buyouts. So if someone wants to go get Nico, they got to go pay Tennessee $5 million.
They buy it out. Yes.
And they buy it out.
Or if they don't want you anymore, buy you out and let you hit the road, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Wow. This is, this is, again,
it should be like that, though. You have a contract. You have to honor
That's
the
why
contract.
you got GMs coming into college football now, right? Because that's what's happening. That's what
You have
North
the
Carolina
contract,
is set up for, right? We bring in a GM because this is what college football is. It's the NFL.
It's worse than the NFL, actually. Like right now, the college players have more power than the NFL player does.
That'll change.
Yes, you hold out in the NFL, you get fined per day. Per day.
Yeah, but how many of those dudes actually end up paying that fine? Like it gets reworked in the contract. It's kind of hidden and buried.
But that fee, it has to be discussed because you are getting fined per day.
Thursday, Nico's with the coaches. Someone said he had dinner at the coach's house. He has a good relationship with Nico or with Coach Heupel and their quarterback coach. On Friday, they show up for practice and they don't have their starting quarterback. No phone call, would not return the calls. And within 24 hours, Coach Heupel stands in front of the media and says, we moved on. Wow. How did Vegas react to that, I wonder?
No notification, no nothing. Just here it is. Later. Learn about it in real time.
This is crazy. Like, this is crazy. You're number one. You're QB1.
At a legit SEC school, a team that made it to the playoffs last season, Mark.
This is wild. It really is. Right at the start of spring ball, too. Like, you know what I mean? Well, spring ball is like, Alabama's having a spring game, I think, this weekend. So this is like towards the end of the spring.
So where does Nico go? What happens?
Right, the 10-day spring portal window opens today.
10 days.
Listen, there's
USC
programs out there that need quarterbacks.
So I also heard this, Mark, from a pretty good source in the business. He thinks there was already a deal being negotiated, which again, I think that was Tennessee got in trouble for that, I believe, where there was some tampering going on. Then the NCAA just threw their hands up and said, "Don't worry about it. There's no rules anymore." So my understanding that there is negotiations, which probably makes sense. How do you walk away from, first of all, a really good team, could be potentially a great team, playoff team, starting quarterback, Tennessee. They're counting on you. Great stadium, SEC football, and I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
And there's a rule that he can't go play in the
sense.
SEC. He can't go play in the SEC.
Yeah, you can't play in the SEC. So Ohio State's going to try to get him, or USC or something,
or North Carolina, right? Somebody who needs a new start.
So he can't. So that is the rule. He can't go to the SEC without sitting out a year.
Correct.
So he's obviously going to go to Big 10, Big 12,
ACC, Big 12,
ACC.
What if he wakes up,
Triple
the family
five?
wakes up with a salary for $1 million in a place that has no chance of the playoffs?
Yep. Be
That's
careful what you wish for, right, Coach? Be careful what you wish for out there.
That's when you look at everybody one day when he's older and say, why'd we do that?
It's the people around you, Coach. I highly doubt.
There you go, Mark.
It's Nico being like, I hate Tennessee. I don't want to come back to Tennessee. Like, I bet the player
he didn't do that.
$2.5 million. It's the people in your circle putting stuff in your ear. You deserve this. You're that. They're getting this. We should get that. So I want you not to go to practice. Now, I don't know the logistics. I don't know the insider scoop, but I do know it has to be people in his ear, right? It has to be. People close to him.
Yeah, there's no chance he made that decision. No chance. He's not equipped to make that decision.
That third uncle?
There he is.
Sad.
Might be
It's
first
frustrating.
uncle
But
on this one.
yeah, or somebody even closer. You know, what's interesting to me, guys, is that I think this is another sign of a trend that we're seeing. Again, the NFL and college football kind of coming together. We're seeing, and Mark, you hit on that stat. Of the 8 top quarterbacks in the 23 class, 7 have already transferred, and Arch being the only one who stuck it out. And God bless Arch. I mean, what a brave decision on his part. But you're seeing this fluidity at the college football quarterback position. You're also seeing it at the NFL. I'm seeing more and more NFL teams. I think you're also seeing more and more college football teams. Just look at Ohio State and Will Howard last year, that are more content to get a seasoned quarterback in the portal, right? Take your 2 years of seasoning, of growth, put up some good numbers at a quote unquote lesser place. Let somebody else do the dirty work for you. Let them build you, grow you, mature you, and then let me take you from there. And you're seeing that at the NFL. You know, look what, like a Sam Darnold, a Baker Mayfield. There's instances across college football. And that's almost like what the MAC is becoming, right? It's becoming like AAA, right? Hey, do well at these lesser conferences, and all the big boys are going to look down from the stands and look at the tape and go, thanks for your dirty work. You know, thanks, Bowling Green, for a couple of years.
And I was wrong, Mark, because I said there's no way that you can win a championship with a one-and-done quarterback. I love that. I think that position is so invaluable. The leadership, to be with your team. Will Howard comes in and does a hell of a job, wins a national championship, moves on. One and done. So I agree with you. I think this is going to be kind of the template. The template is, we just watched it.
And guess what? There's more to this story. I guarantee you. Of course, there'll be more, because we got to find out where Nico ends up playing, and we'll talk about that on the next
How much
edition.
money does he make at his new
How much
school?
he makes, where he goes, how long that deal is for. And you guys talked about Ohio State. Remember, we're going to talk about Ohio State and how many regular season wins we project them to get in the regular season. But now it is time for Treat of the Week, presented by Wendy's. Clock in for sweet treat time with Wendy's Classic Frosty. Get one now. Coach, I know you got the grandkids running around. Throw them in the minivan. I know you got a minivan there. And take them to Wendy's. Go get themselves a sweet treat. But we're going to talk about what transpired.
Sweet
treat time. We're going to talk about what transpired at Augusta over the weekend.
Sweet treat time. Sweet treat time. Sweet treat time.
All right, quick story. I'm the head coach at Florida. We win the national championship, and it's Tim Tebow against Sam Bradford. 2008, we win it. We walk in the locker room, everybody's singing, dancing, and SID comes over to us and said, hey, President Obama's going to call you in 5 minutes on your phone. Congratulate everybody, invite you to the White House. I was like, wow, okay, great. So I have him turn down the music. President Obama calls. I said, Mr. President, he said, Coach Meyer and the Gators, congratulations. And everybody's cheering, and I put him on speakerphone, and he said, I'd like to invite you to the White House. What a great year, great season, and great game. And I said, Mr. President, we're so honored we'll be there. And boom, and kind of hang up, and I go back to my locker. And I sit down, and I'm like, damn, we just won this thing. And I look at my phone's buzzing. It's Fred Ridley. Fred Ridley is the chairman of Augusta National. Back then, he was Rules Committee chairman. He's a Florida graduate, 2-time All-American, and he says, Coach, we did it, we did it, we did it. I got great news. You're coming as my guest to Augusta National. We're going to stay in the Butler cabin. I almost pass out, Mark. I mean, that's the promised land in my world.
Yeah. What'd you shoot at Augusta is the question.
I'll get to that in a minute. So
how many balls did you
right then I'm jumping around like, my gosh, I'm really going to do this. Then our SID brings me back in, and we got to go to the media now. There's about 500 media members in there all sitting down, and we're sitting at the table. And one guy to my right says, Coach, tell us about the amazing phone call you just got in the locker room. I said, boys, Fred Ridley just called me, and I'm headed to Augusta National. And they looked at me and said, wait a minute, didn't President Obama call you? And I was like, oh, yeah, he did. But we're going to Augusta National. So, little priorities there.
Augusta, that's mandatory. Augusta and the White House, that's 2 checklists. That's 2 box list items right there, man. I haven't been. I went to the White House, Obama, but I haven't been to Augusta, so I need that. I need that connection, Coach, please.
Coach has got connections. Yeah, my big takeaway, Mark, was that you and I are headed to Augusta whenever we want to, courtesy of Coach.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
man.
all I heard.
What you shoot at Augusta, man? Let me know. I know you a sandbagger. Let me know what you shot at Augusta.
Yeah,
man.
we got to play 5 times. I played with Lou Holtz, played with Alex Taylor, played with obviously Fred Ridley one time. So it's really not that hard a course, especially from the member tees. I mean, it's rugged. The greens are rugged, but it's wide open. There's no rough mark. So my best round, I believe, was an 82 or 83, but then I also had several of them up in the 90s.
Okay.
Because the putts were rolling, man. But if you have a good caddy, it says hit it here at 20%.
Yeah.
You look at yourself, say, why would the hell would I hit it there? Well, it's because the caddy knows that's where you hit it. But how about Rory McIlroy?
Man, Rory,
how about
a
that,
beast. Man,
a Grand Slam, very rare.
Yep.
And his emotion, man, I thought that was awesome.
Well, I mean, you could see it, man. The career Grand Slam, we saw what happened last year. I forget what tournament that was where he missed the little 3-foot slider to win and then lost it in the playoff. But just look at the ebbs and flows of this game of golf, man. Like,
oh, yeah. He lost it and won it. Lost it and won it. Lost it and won it.
Round 1, double bogey on 15 and 17. Like, he could have been the leader by 3 shots. And then even to start the day on Sunday, first hole, double bogey. You go up by 2 shots, and now you're even after 1 hole. But then, he gets the lead back, fights through, misses the same short putt again to go into a playoff. But then, obviously, with Justin Rose, but he wins in the first playoff. He won the first hole. So, but just a gritty performance by him, just mentally tough. Congratulations.
Maybe my favorite sporting event. I love the Masters.
Bruh. Golf is just a different beast, dog. Like, you have to chase that ball around, and no matter what happens, you have to, good shot or bad shot, you got to put it behind you and focus on the next shot because your job is to get the ball in the hole, and as less times as you can. And me, I be chasing that thing all over. I take the scenic route when I'm on the course, coach. I be
see it all, baby. See it all.
Yeah, I see it all. I be seeing the whole entire course when I'm out there.
Sometimes you see a few other holes that you didn't think you're going to be seeing again. Revisiting
I'm known to
number
be playing
5
from fairway 8 to green number 7, though. You know what I mean? I need that.
As a sports TV nerd, the sports Emmy category is already closed. It's done. The Masters 2025 live sporting event done. Just hand them the hardware right now. I mean, they were just gifted things from the gods, right? I mean, the pageantry, the beauty, the camera work, the reaction, that steady cam just following Rory after he won it, finding his daughter, finding his wife, finding his friends, finding all these people and how he was overcome by emotion. It was awesome. It was awesome to just sit, feel it, right? I don't want to hear other voices. And that's one of the things they really nailed was not over talking this situation and letting us, a fan, sit there and take it in and digest it.
What we call it, Stoner? Lay out.
Lay out, baby. Lay out, man. Let's
Mark,
lay out.
As good as you think playing Augusta is, it's even better.
I need to get over there. You gonna invite me or what, man? Shit, I'm just a little guy, man.
I'm not the one to invite.
People. Coach.
There's peoples out there.
There's peoples out there, as always. So,
well, Mark's got peoples.
He's got tons of peoples.
I'm just a guy, man.
Tons of humans.
They don't want me out there butchering their course.
That's all right. You just spread a little seed on it. You'll be fine. Just stamp it down. I'll pick up your divots for you. Guys, we're going to be in Green Bay next week. Yep, the draft 1 week away. We're going to break down the dark horses of this draft, and we've got a fun Nick Saban story with the Ringers' Todd McShay coming up next on the Triple Option, presented by Wendy's.
Light it.
Treat time is now in session at Wendy's with the iconic Frosty in chocolate and vanilla. Wendy's Delicious Frosty is everyone's fave sweet treat.
Clock in for sweet treat time with Wendy's Classic Frosty. When you want an iconic treat, got to be Wendy's.
With the classic Wendy's Frosty coming in both chocolate and vanilla, there's no wrong time to head to the drive-thru. So grab a spoon and enjoy everyone's fave creamy treat today.
When it's time for sweet treat time, you have to go with the classic Wendy's Frosty in chocolate and vanilla. Enjoy Frosty time with a rich, creamy Wendy's Frosty. When it's time for Frosty time, gotta be Wendy's. All right, the NFL draft is almost here. Will Miami's Cam Ward be the savior for the Titans at number 1? Will the Browns go with Shedeur Sanders or grab a generational talent like his teammate Travis Hunter? Or Maybe find Myles Garrett, that partner in Abdul Carter. These franchises, they need their top picks to improve their roster and ultimately build a winning team. And if you're hiring, you need the most qualified people to build a successful business.
So, where can you find these blue chip candidates? ZipRecruiter. In fact, ZipRecruiter delivers top talent across all industries and roles. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/option. See a candidate who's a can't-miss prospect, like a Heisman Trophy winning running back from Alabama? You could personally invite them to apply. Just like the teams in the draft, ZipRecruiter uses tools and technology to evaluate candidates and determine the top choices for your positions.
So find top picks for all your roles at ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/option, OPTION, right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Again, that is ZipRecruiter.com/option. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. You and I were talking earlier this week, Todd, about recent trends in the NFL draft, and you came up with an interesting one. Premium picks on premium positions. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, you cut into my day yesterday.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. I was studying like 3rd, 4th round safety, so it was a nice little break. Because it got me thinking, this year's class is going to be interesting, right? Because we've got 2 tight ends in Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland who are going to go in the first. We've got 2 running backs, maybe 3 that could go in the first. We just mentioned their names. We've got a couple guys who are guards potentially. You know, Tyler Booker from Alabama, Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. We've got non-premium position players that are kind of throughout every mock draft, if you will. But you go back, like, just the history of the NFL draft, and you go back to last year especially, I want you to listen to this. I went and did this. First round last year, 32 picks. Only 3 were on what I would call non-premium position players. The tight ends, the running backs, centers, guards, linebackers, safeties. Only 3 of those guys. So 91% of the picks in the first round were on quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, which has become a premium position because of how the league has trended, defensive line, the pass rushers, and then cornerbacks that can cover those receivers. First 2 rounds last year, 64 picks combined. Only 11 on those non-premium positions. 53 were on the premium positions. So the first 2 rounds, 17%, only 17% were on the non-premium positions. Now, in the 3rd round, it all changes. That's when it's like, all right, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get my running backs, my tight ends, my interior offensive line, my linebackers, my safeties. 37 picks in round 3 were on those guys compared to only 17 on the premium positions because those guys got swept up early. So how does that play into this year? I think is going to be fascinating when you've got 2 legit first-round tight ends, 2 or 3 legit first-round running backs, a couple guards that I mentioned, a linebacker in Jihad Campbell from Alabama, 2 safeties in Malachi Starks and Nick Iamaleava. So I'll be interested to see, like, do they just go late and do they get pushed back, or do maybe 2 or 3 of those guys that we're talking about get pushed out of the first round because teams are obsessed with those premium positions?
I want to move to something that the transformation of the NFL draft by the phenomena NIL. You know, where the mid-round player now, this is, and I as negative as there is, there's a lot of positive. There's never been more college graduates playing college football than right now.
Agreed.
So that's a more mature guy that will maybe step in the NFL, but you are now potentially making more money by staying in college. As a result, I've heard this from several people in the NFL, the middle rounds are a little thinner than they used to be. Is that a true statement? When I say thinner, because people are going back to college.
I don't think this year. I think last year. I think we're starting to see, because you got to remember, we still have that weird COVID year. I can't tell you how many guys I've written up doing these reports. I've got like 400 reports. It feels like every second or third guy, it's like 5th-year player. And normally it was 5th-year player and like redshirted, maybe played a few snaps first year. Second year was a reserve. Third year started half the games. Fourth and fifth year starter. Fourth and fifth years, he was a starter. Now I'm writing up guys who are like 6-year player, 4-year starter, sometimes like 5-year player, 5-year starter. So it's like this combination of the COVID year still on the very back end, NIL, and transfer portal. I know the one group of human beings out there that is just like, they're sick about it because their workload has like doubled and tripled. It's the NFL scouts. I talked to a good friend who's a scout in the Southeast. He said on it, like typically I go to Ole Miss, it's like, 12, 13 players in the preseason that I've got to write up. He's like, Todd, this year I had to write up 30. 30. Now that doesn't mean they're all coming out. That doesn't mean they're all going to be drafted, but he's got to be prepared and do the backgrounds and know all the medical and all those sorts of things. So that's where I think this year might be a little bit deeper, but you're also seeing a bunch of guys go back to school. And so maybe the top of the first round isn't as good as it normally would be. But I love it. I love it for the quarterbacks especially. I mean, look at like Jaden Daniels and the 2 stops and the 56 starts he had. You just look at the last couple of years and all of the, like Bo Nix. Bo Nix was like a 5th round pick. Jaden Daniels was a 5th round prospect going into his final year. Getting that extra year, and it goes back to like all the way back to Parcells and his rules of 23 starts and all that. Like we've always known that experience helps, but we've never had the data like we've had from the last few years to say, look, like Mark Sanchez, 13 starts, Mitch Trubisky, 13 starts, Anthony Richardson, 13 starts. Like you're just not ready. You haven't seen enough. And so for the quarterbacks especially, I love it. But I think in general, the league is getting players who are ready to play right away. And just look at the rookie impacts we see in the last couple of years.
Now, Todd, just a little fun question here, man. I know you do a lot of these mock drafts. We're in the March Madness time. People love to do their little brackets and see how close they can get to the actual results of the Final Four and the championship. What year was your mock draft almost as close as it could possibly be to like the actual draft? Like, do you follow that? Like how close it lands? Like, and what has been your best year?
Oh,
how close was it?
It was like the 3rd or 4th year. And I can't, I've got to go look this up now. It's going to kill me. It was like the 3rd or 4th year. So it was like 2003, 2004. I got the first 12 picks right.
Wow.
And I haven't come close to doing that since. Right. I mean, one trade and it just kind of messes the whole thing up.
Yeah.
I really like, it's fun to do. And I'd be lying to you if I wasn't sitting there looking at my mock and for the past 17 years, having Kuiper sit right next to me as we're on draft night, almost as like this little side project. I'm doing, like check X, check, Yeah. But yeah, fans love it. I understand it. NFL GMs love to do them too. Yeah. That's the funny part that no one really talks about because it helps them prepare and all the scenarios for draft night. But it's gotten where it's maddening. Like one guy, you're off by one guy. And this year's going to be impossible. I mean, outside of we don't even know number 2. And we just found, I feel like in the last week or so, found out 1. But I can tell you this, when Duke lost, my bracket busted, if that helps you at all.
Right.
Hey, I'm going to brag on
did.
I'm going to actually ask him this question too, but I'm going to brag on Todd. Todd, I think, is better than most that I've dealt with NFL. I mean, as far as the homework that he does, how correct he is. Have you thought about that? Has something been, I know we discussed this, has something come across your table that you said, damn, I might go do this in the NFL?
I had
here we go. Answer it.
Yeah.
I've had some conversations. I've had some conversations. The most recent, I don't think it's a secret. Joe Douglas, I played college football with at Richmond, and we had some conversations. But
you see that spider behind him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But ultimately, ESPN came back and locked me in, and that was the right thing for my family and for that time in my career. I honestly love what I'm doing, and here's the hard part. I talk to NFL scouts and I talk to people in the league, and they're like, "Don't you dare ever." Like, because there's a lot of days where I would kill to just do what you're doing. But I told you, I'll never forget. We had this conversation the first time you and I talked when you were taking that year off, Urban, and you were just kind of asking, like, what's it like? And I was like, listen, you're gonna love it for a little bit because you can finally take a deep breath, you can sit back, you can have fun, you build relationships, and I think you've enjoyed all of that. But I also remember saying to you, and I've said this to many people, the hardest part is the competitive gene. I've never been able to scratch that itch. And it's like beating Kuiper in a top 100 list and ranking or a mock draft doesn't do it. So if I ever were to go take that step and take an offer, it would be because I've just always been dying to go compete and do that.
Back in the day, guys, I used to do a lot of MAC games and kind of lower tier conferences. And Todd was like my go-to. Weekly, I would send him a note. I'm like, hey, I've got Akron and Western Michigan. I'm like, any dudes out there draftable. And I don't care what round we're talking. I could care less because he's creating content and a hit for me. So I'm always curious. We get so caught up in the first round and who's going here and there. I want a sleeper. I want a couple dudes that maybe aren't getting enough attention, aren't getting enough love, that might sneak into round one, but are going to be an amazing round 2, round 3 fit. Who are some of those guys?
I mean, no one wants to talk about a guard from North Dakota State, but I mentioned
I do. I love guards from North Dakota State.
Grace Zabel. Like, we've seen like Cody Mock and like a bunch of guys go through and have a great week at the Senior Bowl, prove they can do it at this level. He's going to come off the board in round 1 now, but he's that one player that everyone's going to kind of just laugh at some of the tape and his dominance. Maxwell Hairston. He's going to be a first-round cornerback, and I don't think, everyone's talked about the same guys. Will Johnson from Michigan and Jedi Barron from Texas. Maxwell Hairston might be the second best athlete, most explosive traits outside of Travis Hunter in this draft. And he had the shoulder injury. Apparently, he got infected from a needle this past year. Wasn't the same guy in terms of like tackling and all that. But he ran the fastest 40 time for whatever that's worth, and it's worth something at the cornerback position of any player at the combine. He jumps through the roof. He's sticky in coverage, man and zone. I think Maxwell Hairston's going to be an absolute find for an NFL team. And I just don't feel like he's getting an awful lot of love. There are some other, like Elijah Arroyo is just getting completely overlooked, the Miami tight end in this class, because you've got this unbelievable talent in Tyler Warren, and you've got another great receiver in that like Kelsey line of Colston Loveland from Michigan. But Arroyo, he had the injuries in college, and he didn't even have great production. They spread the ball out to a lot of different places at Miami this year. But he's different, man. Like he's got some like dog in him. I think Arroyo in the second round is going to be a player where every year we look back like, how did that guy get to the second? He has everything you look, 6'5", 251 pounds, runs fast, explosive traits, was awesome at the Senior Bowl. How did he get to the second round? I think Arroyo is going to be one of those guys that we look back and talk about.
Where'd you have Ingram?
Early.
Oh, stop. I'm going to
That's when running backs mattered.
Yeah. So you were surprised you were surprised when I made it 28.
Yeah, I actually was. I remember that.
Me too.
I remember that.
Me too.
I remember that. I thought I had somewhere like the top like 15, somewhere in that
range.
I could go back and look.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man, because that's what I said. I said, McShay told me I was between 10 and 20, so I knew I couldn't go past 20.
That's one of the problems with this job. Coach has called me in the past, called me a couple times. Nick Saban, that was always my, like, I forget Nick's secretary's name.
Linda?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Miss Linda.
Yeah.
Yes, Miss Linda. I would, every once in a while, there were like 5 or 6 times in like, I don't know, decade that he was there, I'd get that call from Miss Linda's phone, and I'd be like, oh boy, setting up a call for Nick to call and get after me. You're too high on this guy. And he was right once or twice. I was right once or twice, but
was he talking about his guys or other guys?
His guys.
His guys. Because his guys wanted to leave, and
when they were making decisions, they saw a mock draft with my name on top of it, and he was pissed off. And he's not the only coach. I've had plenty, so I don't like that aspect of it, but I do my best to try to be as accurate as I can.
I'm going to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
Did you have Kareem Jackson going number 20?
No.
Nobody did.
No.
Hey, Kareem wanted to leave. Coach Saban wanted him to come back. Kareem like, I'm leaving. Kareem went number 20. I think he just finished his 15th year too. So kudos to him. But I just wanted to ask you about that.
No, I did not.
Hey, Todd, from your unique perspective, what do you think NFL scouts, NFL GMs, NFL head coaches are getting wrong or spending too much time and getting wrapped around the axle on when they really need to be focusing on elements A, B, and C?
That's a good question. I think the league's come a long way. I think it used to be, it used to be a lot of like crusty, not understanding the player, evaluators who, it's our way or it's no way, that kind of thing. I've seen a total transformation in executives, in scouts, people like it's, the guys that are starting to rise up. I think that there's been an understanding of like, there's no one way, like, and you don't have to be exactly this as a human being. It's okay to get paid money, and also adjusting. We don't love it, but we understand it is what it is. With some of the entitlement, and it's true. And like, I'm not promoting it, but with money and this prestige and I mean, they're professional athletes in college now, but you can either adjust to the times or you can fight them and like you're going to be down to a list of 30 guys in each draft class that you want to draft. But I also think the other thing too is, and it's I remember Marty Schottenheimer told me this in one of my first drafts. He was working at ESPN. He's like, the hardest thing to ever predict, I always have found, is when you give a human being more money, more free time, and more fame. How's he going to react to that? And I've like talking to scouts early in my career, it was like 70, 80% was tape and who's the football player is and all that. And it was like 20, 30%, who is he as a human being? Who is like, does he love ball or does he love what ball brings him? I know that's a cliche, but does he truly love this? And Mark, like, this thing's a grind, man.
Yes.
You gotta love it. And you can really, really like it. And like to work most of the time, but there are dudes that really absolutely love it. And you see, if you go study it over time, those are the guys that kind of rise to the top or just get the most out of what they have.
He's right.
So, yeah.
Right. Spot on.
He is the legend, Todd McShay from the McShay
Yes, sir.
Show on the Ringer Network. Todd, man, I know it's like it's tax season for you, right? This is your busy season. You're in accountant mode right now, so we appreciate you taking the time to join us on the Triple Option. Thanks, man. Love the intelligence. Always love seeing you.
Great to
see you,
bro.
Todd.
We
Guys,
appreciate
man.
your time, brother.
Anytime you want. I couldn't think of
We should do it
better
again.
trio to talk.
Be careful what you ask for
Whatever.
now.
Exactly,
We
Todd.
have you back,
Exactly.
have you back
I know.
on the show now.
I'll always
Change
make
that
time
phone
for you
number
guys.
immediately.
Light it.
Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Each Wednesday throughout the season, pick the skater you think will light the lamp first in the game. Listen, if it's not your player, but he scores the second goal of the game, you get your stake back. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Place your moneyline, prop, and parlay bets with the sportsbook born in Vegas today. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Subject to eligibility requirements, rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Welcome back to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Mark, Urban, Rob back here with you. The Triple Option Crystal Ball is brought to you by BetMGM each Wednesday throughout the NHL season. Pick the skater you think will light the lamp first in the game. If it's not your player, though, but he does score the second goal of the game, you get your stake back. You only get that here with the Sportsbook, born in Vegas. All right, BetMGM right now has us looking at the Ohio State, the defending national champs, and what they're going to do this upcoming season. They just completed their spring game over the weekend. Right now, they have it at, here it comes, Mark. It's the half, 10.5 regular season win total that BetMGM has set for them for 2025. The over set at plus 100. The under at minus 125. So 10.5 regular season wins for the Buckeyes. We'll delve into the schedule in just a moment, but things to keep in mind. Probably going to have 15 players from that national championship team getting drafted next week in the NFL draft. You got a new OC in Brian Hartline. Matt Patricia comes in as your new DC. You've got a new quarterback coming in. You've got a new running back. You've got all kinds of holes to fill. And I know
you got
Ohio
new pass
State
rushers.
Yeah, Ohio State is like, let's just reload, right? It's stormtroopers. One goes down, another one's in your face. But man, Coach, this feels like a big number. This feels like a lot of holes that Ryan Day has to fill this offseason.
It does. And again, Vegas is right on the mark here. I mean, that's 10.5. And I think they'll win 10 games. And remember, the standard's been set by the Wolverines' leadership, an old team, a team full of seniors. Penn State's trying to do that this year with the back, tailbacks coming back and Aller coming back. So I got them at 10 wins. I think they're, they've recruited at a whole different level than anyone else in college football, I think, in the last 15, 20 years. Well, I thought we always recruited good. Man, I see these rosters, my gosh. I'm what they've done, and they had a good spring game. They love the quarterback saying that the Alabama transfer. You have two new coordinators. Matt Patricia, that's going to be the biggest change because I think Brian Hartline is just going to keep going along with the Chip Kelly, Ohio State, Ryan Day offense. So I got him at 10. I look at their schedule, and I'm going to hand it off to Mark here in a second, but at Wolverines, at Wisconsin, I don't think those are top 10 teams this year. I don't know if the Wolverines will be a top 10 team. They still got some rebuilding to do. Wisconsin, we saw them up close and personal. That was a top 5, top 10 team at one point. I think they're going to get back at that point with Coach Fickell. But the Wisconsin team we saw last year, that's not that awful trip that it used to be to go to Madison.
Yeah, the two toughest tests on paper, at least, are home.
Texas, Penn State. Yep.
Texas, Penn State. And that's no disrespect to the Illinois, Wisconsins, and Michigans, obviously.
It's just facts.
At Illinois, that's a tough one.
It is. All right, so it opens up August 30th at
Texas
home versus Texas. Mark, what have we been saying? Like, we haven't been calling it a push. It's just sort of like we're going to put a hold
question
on that
mark.
One. Question mark.
Like,
all right.
It's just
so
a
one
question mark.
Yes. Next week, Grambling State.
Win.
Next versus
Ohio.
The
win.
Bobcats. Win. At Washington.
Win.
That's a long way to go.
It is a long way.
I got it as a win, though. I'm taking it as a win.
We're at 3. Home to Minnesota.
Dub.
4.
Win.
At Illinois.
Win. At Wisconsin. Win.
6.
Versus Penn State. Question mark.
Okay. 2
at
question
Purdue.
marks.
At
Win.
Purdue. Win. Versus UCLA. Win. Versus
8.
Rutgers. Win.
9.
Here we go.
At Michigan. Question mark.
Question mark. So that's 9 wins
And
and
3
3
question
marks.
I don't
And
have
10.5 is the number from BetMGM.
I don't have them going over 10.5. I have them at 10 wins. I don't have them going. They went 10-2 last year, made the playoff and won the national championship. 10-2 is more than enough to make the playoff and get yourself in the dance to go win the national championship.
Sure.
I feel like between Texas, Penn State, which hasn't been able to do the job against Ohio State,
Right.
but they got the guys coming back. We'll see. We'll see. It's to be said. And we all thought Ohio State was just going to Molly spank that thing against the Wolverines last year, and they did it.
Molly spank.
What's a Molly spank? I have no idea what that is.
Just Mr. Miyagi, just wax on, wax off, just wax it. We thought they were just going to polish that ass. You know what I mean? But they did it. So I got 3 question marks, and I got them winning 10 games. I got them going 10-2, going back to the playoff again. So 10-2. I'm taking the under on the 10.5, that hook.
Coach, you're about there?
Yeah, I'm a 10-win season. I think that's actually a hell of a season with a new team. And you know what the new team is by the end of the year, Mark? It's not a new team anymore. Right. It's an old team. So they'll be a veteran team by the time they get to Ann Arbor. So,
Coach, does this year's team need to be better than last year's team to get back to the national title game? Can they be the same? Can they be less?
Every coach's dream is to have a grown-ass man in that locker room. that take care of the business. That, remember, after that loss to the Wolverines last year, there was a team meeting and the senior leadership stood up and said, we're enough of that shit. We're coming back and we're gonna get it done. And that's exactly what they did. Give credit to the coaches, but that doesn't happen with a young team. There's no chance that happens with a young team. And they did it.
Would you characterize this as a young team, Coach?
Inexperienced, absolutely.
They have great coaching, great culture. They have talent that they've been recruiting. They're one of those teams, Rob, that you say, like, yeah, we're accustomed to 15 guys going to get drafted to the NFL. We're accustomed to that. So we got guys in waiting who are ready to step up to the plate and are ready to step up to the challenge. And I feel like Ohio State is one of those programs, just like, Alabama has been, just like Texas and, these big programs who are accustomed to guys going to the league, Georgia, et cetera. I think Ohio State's one of those teams who are just going to reboot, rebuild, and fire away again. So.
It's been a long time since the Buckeyes lost anything more than 2 games. A long time.
Yeah.
2011 was the last time.
That fan base expects double digits every year. They usually get it. Julian saying again,
right.
seems to be the quarterback. We know Coach Day is going to wait until deep into summer camp, and why wouldn't he?
You're welcome, Ohio State. You're welcome.
Yeah,
your quarterback.
You're right. Former Alabama guy, 5-star
you guys
recruit.
are welcome.
Second year, 6 foot. They list him at 6'1", but it's more like 6 foot. So there's some concerns about his height. In the spring game, 17 to 24, 175 yards.
Are people really still concerned about a 6-foot quarterback?
Apparently they are.
Like, what are we doing?
We got to throw over those 6'5", 6'7" monsters.
It's fine. Just put him in the shotgun. Like, he's fine. I played with Drew Brees, like Russell Wilson. Like, we are fine. Justin Fields was what?
Well, all the last Buckeye QBs are all like in that 6'5" down to like 6'2", 6'3" window. Haskins and Stroud and all those guys. So they have a little more length than Saban. Coach, what have you heard about Saban in Columbus?
Yeah, they say his anticipation, his very live arm from different arm slots, where he gets the ball out. He's real dynamic and adaptable at that position. And I've been hearing about him. I actually stood next to him, and he's not only 6 foot, but he's a little slight.
Yeah,
but I'm
skinny.
sure, another year in
slender.
the weight program and getting bigger, and because, you're going to get hit. But they, the ball comes out of his hands real nice, and they think very highly of him. And you know what they're doing? They're going to keep the other guys around. But everything I'm hearing, it's saying is a quarterback.
Hey, who's ready for Green Bay, right? Road trip, the triple option, hitting the road, live shows from Green Bay next week on Thursday and Friday from right outside Lambeau Field. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing you guys face-to-face, man. Face-to-face. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. I'm looking forward to seeing you, too, in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Follow, subscribe, rate us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you find your podcast, as well as across social media. We are at 3X Option Show. Thanks, as always, to our wonderful sponsors, Wendy's, BetMGM, and ZipRecruiter. We will see you in Green Bay next week for live shows outside of Lambeau.